What's up guys, welcome back to another episode of the Big Old Skyline. So today we are actually going to move the car into the hoist bay, what we didn't do last episode, simply because we pretty much need this space to start on the panels and that now, because like I said at the end of the last episode, we were almost at a bit of a stalemate with the shell at the moment, until a few more things get painted here and there. So we sort of need the booth, spray booth area back so we can paint the next things to go on the car. And while we're doing that, you know, under the car, the handbrake assembly, everything's got to get put back together. So yeah, all stuff to go on with. Right though, out in the daylight, the roof looks mint. Definitely needs like another 30mm low in the back.
Great.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Get the bloody thing in there. Yeah.
Just have to get that rack out, tidy it up.
Looks damn good.
Bloody flippin' excellent.
It's a pain. You think you're making real good progress and then you get everything that's left to do sort of in one place. And that sucks. Still got both front guards. Both front guards still got to do the flares on both of them, like actually shape them properly, bog them properly, make them nice. They all need work. Got the bonnet, the boot here. Boot, we need to fill all these holes, repair all that. That's all got to get done. Not to mention the underside of the boot has to be done. These doors have to be finished, just the insides. These doors both need to be done. Both have just a few little repairs in them, but they're both got to get done. Bonnet's got to get done, and underneath the bonnet. This is not even including the little things like the brake master and the clutch master and all those other little things there are to paint. So much painting. Closed door respray. Just whack closed door respray on it. Just do a closed door respray. Should be right.
I know.
Alrighty, so we've just been given a call by our postal service man, and looks like the GK Tech offset rack spacer, which I was talking about in the last video, has arrived, which is awesome for us because it gives us really something to go on with today, which really needs to be done ASAP. So, like, this stuff's awesome, but at the end of the day, Dad really is the panel wizard, and this is stuff that he sort of enjoys doing. So we'd like for Dad to do that while we sort of focus on what we do, which is, you know, the other stuff in the car. Not that we don't like panel beating, but just it's stuff that Dad can be doing while we can be using our time better spent getting this project moving along faster. So we'll go get those rack spacers. That way we can see if this rack is actually going to work in the position that it's in. Make sure we can get full lock both ways and there's no bind. As long as that's okay, well then, that's it. If we can get full lock both ways and they don't bind, it doesn't really matter that it's offset. All you do is shorten up one tie rod end to suit, and you know, one's going to be a bit longer, but as long as they both got plenty of thread engagement on the tie rod end, and as long as it gets full lock both ways, that's all that matters. So we'll go do that. Cruise on with that. The vinyl seats in this thing are so hot. Burning my bum. I have a burnt ass. At least the aircon's nice and cold though. Nice cool aircon.
You can't have a twin turbo LS Land Cruiser without aircon.
That would be
ridiculous.
silly.
That'd be fucking stupid, wouldn't it?
So, we got coffee, we got the little package from GK Tech, and we got some tube for the windscreen washer bottle. So that can go in as well. But Rex forgot his wallet, so we're gonna drop in and pick up Rex's wallet, and we're gonna go and see the guy that we bought the steering rack off, because we're hoping that he has a hardline that's going to fit the rack, which we can sort of just adapt to the Skyline, the high pressure line for the steering pump. So the Skyline, there's like a joint in the middle of it, which I'm pretty sure is the same between, you know, the 31 and the 34 and the S13 and stuff. But obviously the rack fittings are different. So we're hoping if we can get a high pressure line, it'll have the same joint in the middle of it, and we can just take the piece that goes from the joint to the rack and use that. You know, alternatively, the RB power steering pump should be in the same position on an R34. So if he's got a complete R34 high pressure line, it should, in theory, just completely bolt in anyway. So go and see what he's got now, and it's handy having him around. He's from Option 1 Garage. He's the bloke who started Option 1 Garage, I'm pretty sure. So he's not far from us. So we're gonna go have a look, see what he's got. Rightio guys, we are back. Pretty successful little gallivanting outing this morning, where we didn't have to go too far to get anything. Plus we got some good coffee, which is always good. So we've got here a full line setup with reservoir and pump. Pretty sure it's off an S15, not 100% sure, but regardless, it's a pretty similar shape and it's got the right end on it. So hopefully we can make it work. But first things first, we have to make sure that the actual rack is going to work and we can get lock to lock before we go, you know, messing around with the lines too much. But it's good to have that. So we'll open up our little package from GK Tech and we'll get this car off the ground and see if we can make sure it's going to work lock to lock. It's going to be the $1 million question. So confirmed rear sway bar is white line as well, which we were discussing in the last episode. And this is our new GK Tech kit. So comes with one big rack spacer and one little washer to go on the other end. So yeah, hoping that this will allow us to get that little bit extra travel to get lock to lock both sides. So we'll just have to have a look and find out. It's going to be one of those things. So the rack spacer seems to have been able to allow us to get lock to lock, which is good. That's problem number one solved. So we've got, Rex already put the boot back on, but we've got the offset rack spacer on this side, and we've sanded up the rack a fair bit. As you can see, we've had to pretty much wind this tie rod end all the way in, which is good because there's plenty of thread engagement.
I can quickly rip that boot back.
No, it's alright. They know what it looks like. You know,
it's not clipped. It's just.
We didn't bother putting the slip-on one on this side because we don't particularly need it. It's hitting the lock stops either way, so we're not going to get any more lock than that. So there's not much point in doing it. But one of the things is, because we're running the GK Tech roll center correction kit, which gives you pretty much an extra 25mm track width. It doesn't actually sit right down in the lock stop. It actually hits the end of the lock stop, but still serves the same purpose and still has plenty of lock. Because of the size of the wheels, even where it hits the lock stop there, it's just about to contact the caster rod, or the caster arm, and the sway bar, the same way mine is. Mine gets a little bit more lock because I've got smaller wheels, but given the wheel size here, we're pretty much limited by that anyway. But you can see we've got full lock that way. As you can see, it's still plenty of lock. Still a big lock setup. And full lock that way.
Shit. What? It's going to be dangerously close to these guards once it's actually on the ground, like at ride height.
Yep.
With these very aggressive wheels. And I think I'm going to have to cut these little tabs off there. Too close. Too close for my liking.
So you can see we're getting pretty close there to the caster rod and the sway bar on that wheel. But and on the leading wheel, it's getting, hold on, it's getting very close to the guard here. So
it's not binding though.
This is the advantage. This is the disadvantage of having big wheels. This is one of the advantages of running really little wheels on your drift car. Like, that's why I like to run fairly little wheels. But you know, still, that's heaps of lock to go driving with. That's plenty.
Yeah, that is a lot of lock.
So quite a big amount of lock, but yeah, so as you can see, there's not much point. Like, I went to custom adjustable lock stops on mine just so I could get that little bit extra lock out of them because I had the room to. But given this wheel setup, we don't have the room to go any more lock than that anyway, so it's pretty a moot point to go doing adjustable lock stops. Plus, you know, it makes the car a little bit more illegal. But it's good. Basically, where we're at now, R34 rack is going to work as far as lock to lock goes. All we got to do is drop it down and just check it on the steering wheel, make sure it doesn't bind. But realistically, it shouldn't, because the rack sits in the same position as an R31 rack would anyway. So it's right on the R31 mount, so it's in the same position, so there is no real reason that it would bind. I have the same setup as this car, but with an R31 rack, and mine doesn't bind, then I get more lock. So shouldn't bind, but we'll just double check. And after that, user know, or user will be able to tell all your friends. R31 community, rejoice. R34 rack bolt straight into the cross member. No modification needed. All you need to do is buy the GK Tech offset rack spacer to make sure that it works lock to lock. But apart from that, R34 rack works a treat. Alrighty, so like that. Rex is going to get on the steering wheel and give it a tune, see how it feels. Feel good or a bit bindy?
Just a tiny bit.
A little bit bindy.
Nah, I reckon it'll be fine.
No, that's what I mean. It's quite
Have a
a
look
big
where that
setup.
wheel is pointing. That is so much lock. Just watch that as I straighten up to see what it's like as it comes through its arc. Is it any closer?
Yeah. It's a bee's dick. It's pretty close there too. I mean, it's close, but close enough's good enough, right? Close doesn't mean it's hitting. It'll all change again once it's all in there, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But at least we get lock to lock. So it's a little bit, it's not binding, but it is, you can feel it's a bit stiffer right at the end of the stroke of the steering.
Well, you have a, I'll lift it up just so that you see what you reckon.
Alright. Yeah, it's a bit,
It's just that
it's a
little
bit hard right at the end.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You won't know until it's on the ground and you've got all the tow you want in it.
Yeah.
And then obviously with power steering fluid as well. It's hard to know. So all we can do is pretty much wait and see how it goes. But like you said,
3 turns exactly.
exactly 3 turns.
Exactly 3 turns.
So it is a mildly better ratio. Mildly
Exactly
better.
3 turns lock to lock.
Yep.
Bang on.
Hang on. Well, I suppose that makes sense because everyone reckons the R33 racks are a better ratio, which I'd assume the R34 racks are a bit the same.
Probably
So,
the same, yeah.
so yeah, a little bit quicker lock to lock on the ratio.
So it should be snappy.
But anyway, so there's a few problems we still have to overcome and see how they come out pretty much like we were saying once we get all the weight in this car and get it down and get it towed out the way we want to tow it out. Plus, you know, actually having the pump going with fluid going through the rack. Whether that sort of little bit of bind at the end is going to be a problem or not, we don't know yet. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. So Rex just sort of test fitted the lines. They need a bit of a reshape, which is to be expected. We sort of thought that would be the case. But should be able to make them work, no worries. So anyway, the short answer is the R34 rack works and it does bolt straight in, so that's cool. Obviously, you just got to change the lines. But anyway, I'm gonna be heading off now. I've got some domestic stuff to go do before I go back to work tomorrow. So I'm going to be leaving you with Rex once again. So hope you enjoy. Busting out the new tube kit for the first time. Try and sort this power steering line out.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, boy. Try and make it all nice and pretty.
Hello viewers. So Max left earlier today. It has been a long afternoon. I've been flat out. This is the first chance I've had to actually film anything. I've just had dinner and come up. So after Max left, I got a call this afternoon about a week's work that's coming up in a couple of weeks, which I've had to take just because I need the money. The issue for me is that leaves me a week short on everything that I have to do here in getting this car finished and getting stuff done around the shed here to get ready for the dyno and everything that's coming up. So it is now basically work on this build is about to accelerate in a big old hurry. So just to update you on what I did this afternoon, I went ahead and detailed a lot of the bits and pieces of the engine bay and got the engine bay dressed up. And this is pretty much what it looks like. So not sure how it translates on camera, but in real life, it looks absolutely insane. So you would have seen we sorted the rack out. I ended up painting the rack, got that sorted. I did end up making and adjusting that power steering line. It's pretty ugly. Honestly, it's really not pretty, but it's gonna work, which is the important thing. So yeah, pulled all this stuff apart, painted all of the master cylinders, the wiper motor, installed the overflow bottle, the power steering reservoir. So this is pretty much, there's nothing else in the engine bay. The only other thing here is that there is going to be a catch can down in that corner, which is also going to be black. That'll run to the rocket cover, and the loom will come out of that grommet, run under the sill and around to the back of the motor. But other than that, and motor, intake and ancillaries, there's nothing else that actually goes on the guards or on like any of this front stuff. So this is like the engine, body wiring loom, headlight loom, all that stuff's going to be hidden and out the front. This is literally it. There's just going to be the engine loom come out of there, across and into the motor. That's it. That's all there's going to be. So even down to detailing, like I painted the strut tower nuts, like all this stuff, like everything. I'm sure the camera doesn't do it justice. In real life, this thing just looks absolutely mad. And I'm really happy because this is exactly how I'd seen the engine bay coming up. I started mucking around the servo, detailed up the Nissan sign on the rocket cover, put the fittings in and the cap. That has also come up even better than I thought it was. I'm stoked. Old man rocked around the servo and he started sorting out the doors. He's going to get onto them tomorrow and do all of the painting inside on the back side here. And if he has time and energy, he might flip them over, try and do the other sides as well, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, everything's kicking off. So I was hoping to have a bit of an early night tonight because I'm pretty wrecked. It's Monday night. It's been a big effort so far, but given that I'm now short of time already, I spent just before dinner, I spent about half an hour just cleaning up all the benches and all the tools that we had strewn around and sort of getting organized, getting this bench cleaned up so that I can start assembling the motor tonight. So it's going to be a long night, and from here on out, I think it's pretty much just going to be a whole week of long nights. I don't really have much choice. I've just got to get this thing done. There's still so much work to do. I don't have much choice. So I might chuck this engine build on a time lapse. If you've watched this channel for a while, you've seen plenty of them. This is just another RB30 build, but I don't know. Might as well watch something, and we'll see where we get to tonight. And yeah, hopefully get an early start tomorrow, and there will be I'm hoping we're at a point where we can start painting the engine. Once the engine's painted, I've got to get the loom on there, basically strip it again and redo it because everything's changed again. So yeah, I'll bring you along for the late night ride. It's gonna be a big night. Anyway, as usual, I'll pull up the time lapse and show you if there's anything interesting going on, and yeah, we'll run from here. Okay, update from before. It's now 10 o'clock. I've got the block, had its final wash, then a final hone, and then, well actually, it had its second final wash, then it had its final hone, then it had its final wash. So I've got that ready to go. It's probably a bit excessive washing it twice, but it was pretty clean before, but it sat here for I don't know how long. In the meantime, I've been in and out. There's been other people in the shed. We've had other projects. There's been like grinding and welding going on, painting, all that sort of stuff. I had to clean my sump out as well while I was going. It was clean before, but then Adam came here and done fucked around and was doing like, I think he had the die grinder or some shit out there. So thanks a lot, Adam. It's not even your fucking shed, mate. And you've made more work for me. Ugh. So anyway, beyond that, so I had to clean that again, cleaned out the intake tube. I've also cleaned up the crank and got that pretty much ready to rock and roll. See here, that's the extended collar. That's one of the grub screws there. That's the extended collar that we had machined and put on this crank. Machine shop also, while they had it, gave it a good cleanup. You can see it's not that sort of brown dirty color that you get with the rest of the stuff that was in the RB. So crank's really nice and clean, really happy with it. Block has been cleaned like 4 times now. It's ready to go. And I've already done all the bearing clearances, so even though it's late, I'm hoping this motor will come together pretty quick. Luckily for me, my previous past self was smart enough that while we had a fair bit of downtime, I've already cleaned up the sump, is an example, and the front and rear seals. Obviously the oil pump's the front seal, but I've already knocked out the old seals. I've already cleaned up all of the mating surfaces, got all the old silicone off them, which saves me a heap of time tonight trying to get the motor together, because it's that cleaning's already done and most of the mating surfaces are ready for just a quick cleanup and some silicone or whatever, and then bang, they go together. So I don't know how much I'm going to push tonight. We've been going since 8 o'clock this morning, so it's been like, you know, what's that, 14 hours now. So yeah, I'll see how I go tonight. I don't want to push myself too much. Right, it's just after 11:30. We've got most of the bottom end together, all the pistons in, crank in. It all turns over really nicely. Everything's coming up sweet. I'm happy. From here, we're probably going to move on to getting the oil pump on the front, which actually involves a really, ooh, that's disgusting. A really good cleanup of the oil pump with our brand new, piss off mate, with our brand new bit of oil pump gears and such. And yeah, we'll get this new oil pump together. I'll have to open up my gasket set, and I've got a new front main seal, I've got a new rear main seal as well, and I might try and get pretty much both of them on the motor and sort it out. Because pretty much after that we can get the oil pump pickup tube on, and more or less at a point after that we can button up and put the sump on, which would be a big step forward. After that, head on, and then it's water pump, basically more or less ancillaries after that. You know, it's sort of the back's broken off the motor, but yeah. Yeah, I'm keen, you know. Mosquito. Anyway, the bugs actually tonight have been completely horrendous. It did rain before. There is thunder in the background. Don't think the camera will pick it up. Yeah, there's a lot of thunder going on. It did rain before, which is why I didn't film any of the cleaning up the block and stuff like that. I sort of had to get that done. So yeah, there's been a lot of rain forecast the next few days, which is not good for us, because we want to get these doors and the other panels sorted out and painted. So a lot of rain will be terrible news, terrible weather. So not keen on that. So I've just cleaned up this oil pump. It was absolutely filthy. I did clean it once before, but yeah, it was full of crap all in there. Should be noted, we have slightly ported this one, just in those in and outlets, just taking out that sharp corner in there, just to try and help flow a little bit. I just wanted to point out that this backing plate here is actually what's known as goes that way up, is what's known as a dynamic seal. So it is essentially a wear surface. You can have them wear out. What happens there is that the surface on, obviously the gears sit in here, so you can get, if you have excessive wear, what you get is oil pressure basically bypassing the plate and the gears, and you lose efficiency. I'm not sure. I believe you can get new ones from somewhere. I'm not concerned about this one because it is in really good condition. So we're just going to use it. I just wanted to make a note of that little situation. So from there, we're just going to clean up this oil pump. I'll crack open my gasket set. Okay, it is done. Well, I am done. It is 10 to 2 right now. I haven't had a shower. I haven't sorted myself out to go to sleep. But I didn't get as much done as I wanted. I wanted to get the head on. It's just not going to happen tonight. That's just how it is. Mostly because I lost a fair bit of time mucking around making another video earlier explaining a bit of a thing we had this afternoon with a customer's car. So anyway, this is where we're at now. The bottom end is essentially together, oil pumps together, front and rear seals are on. I forgot this is an RB, not an LS, so you can get the rear seal on without taking it off the engine stand. Yay for me. However, you might have, if you're really quick and watching, you might have noticed in the time lapse that I did manage to punch myself in the lip. Not in the mouth, very specifically right in my bottom lip. So like all through there. It was bleeding. Now I think it's just swollen. But yeah, the worst thing about it is that I knew it was going to happen. I had the spanner on the head of the bolt, and I was like, yeah, I reckon that's going to slip off and I'm going to punch myself in the head. And as I finished that thought, it slipped off, and yeah, I literally just punched myself square in the mouth. So, you know, this is what happens late at night, and you're tired, and it's not fun. Anyway, I ended up deciding not to use the gasket on the sump, as I have here. I have a gasket for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't like those cork gaskets. I find that they leak constantly, no matter what you do. Especially with automatic transmissions is where my hatred for them comes from. They never ever seal. I hate the stupid things. I did actually measure up when I put the pickup on. I actually measured the depth of the pickup relative to the pan, and even to the bottom of the gauze on the pickup, there's actually almost 10 mil clearance to the bottom of the pan, which is normally I'd like to see around about 3/8 of an inch. So somewhere between like 8 and 10 mil is what I would like to see maximum between a pickup and a sump. So 10 mil doesn't seem bad, but that's actually to the gauze. It's a rounded gauze in the bottom of this pickup, and the tube itself is like another good 4-5 mils. So to my mind, I decided that I'd rather not put the extra thickness of like 2-3 mil of the gasket on there. I'm happy just to run the sump straight up, just silicon to the block. Whoever has to take it off will curse me, even if they don't know it was me that did it. Just like I did curse myself for taking it off, you know, when I pulled this motor down. But it didn't leak before. So yeah, I've used a whole mess of black silicon. It shouldn't leak. It'll be stuck on there, and we've got like a little bit better clearance in the sump 2 pickup. So I'm happy with that. I've only done the bolts up hand tight, and I've wiped off the excess silicon. I'm pretty much just going to leave it how it is until tomorrow. I've done it hand tight. I've seen some oozing, which you want to see, believe it or not. And hand tight's good for now. I'll let that sort of set overnight. It is raining right now. Probably can't hear it. And I will just nip these bolts up in the morning, which will pull down on that hardened silicon by then, and that'll seal this thing up nice and tight, bottom end done. And in the morning I can turn it over, and we can start whacking the head on and continue on with what we were doing. Keep putting ancillaries on, and hopefully still get it painted tomorrow, possibly tomorrow afternoon. I guess it will. Sorry, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. This afternoon, technically. I need to go to bed. Alright, good night guys. I'm going to sign off here before I lose my mind completely. Smash like, smash subscribe, and thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.